Hello everyone, I'm Admiral Ellis of the TTO, and damn, I have not had a moment to record this video for, a day or so. Last night, before this video, when I would have been recording this video, basically, I was just screwing around with some friends, and they were looking at some, cameras, some town in Oregon, Salida or something like that. Hold on, I can look it up. But, flight plan stuff, I didn't actually figure out where I was, I just used a radar contact, but so they were looking at some cameras last night and they said, hey look, there are some weird lights. And there were. And they were trying to figure out what they were, and the whole time I was staring at them like, that's a UFO. And so I basically had to just shut down the call. I was on a call with them on Skype. I had to shut down the call and wake up everyone. Well, not wake up everyone. Well, wake up everyone. Yeah, no. I said that like, I'm still the old base. At the old base, I would have ran downstairs and woke everyone up. This time I called up Devereaux and basically had them bring down the bat out of hell for me because we had to go and we had to go immediately. Well, they were on their way down. I contacted Portland, Oregon, the international airport there, and had them fire up their radar and look for a certain energy signature, which they found. And it's the same one. Well, it's in the same band that all the UFOs over here have been showing up. And so now I'm starting to think it's not just me. I flew about like 6,000 miles yesterday, just basically halfway around the globe and back. They stopped, picked me up. We flew across the country to this town in Oregon, or well, near, just in Oregon, west coast of Oregon, and, well, it started out kind of middle of Oregon. We encountered the contact where they said it was, and we chased it all the way out to sea, and then we lost it. We flew into a storm, that's why we lost it. We flew into this pretty heavy storm off the coast of Oregon, off the northwest U.S. coast. What's the word? It was very ionic, so my sensor started to scramble, but I started taking pot shots at I didn't, bat out of hell, so weapon tube. Darren was taking pot shots at the UFO, because we were kind of closing. We were somehow managing to outrun it. We were closing on it, and we closed the distance pretty close before he ducked into the ion storm. We had to follow him. I mean, it would have been stupid. He could have gone out any direction. If we just started circling, we would have lost him, because it was an enormous storm. We went into the storm after him, thought we saw him. Darren took pot shots. There was a flash there was a burst of radiation, although I couldn't tell you what kind it was. And then we didn't get another contact. So either they used some sort of drive to warp away, or they're at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean somewhere. Either way, we're probably not going to see this particular UFO again. Well, we could, of course, if he warped away. I was thinking just like, he's gone. We won't see him soon. So we came home, and I kind of, went around. I didn't go around personally, but I made a bunch of phone calls, hitched onto a bunch of radar stations all around the U.S., and then we started to branch out. I got some in Europe and South Africa and Australia. We started picking up a bunch of these contacts. So I'm getting a little bit worried. By a bunch, I mean there were about 50 in the US alone, and there were another 20 in Europe, and there were half a dozen in Australia and New Zealand. The rest of the areas we couldn't get radar coverage for, so I'm not sure what this is, but it might be an invasion force, in which case I'm gonna have to call in help. I'm not willing to go at it alone if there are that many ships. If we just look at the distribution across the continental United States, and then we coat that over the world, there's got to be thousands of ships out there. it's getting me a little bit, you know, not going crazy or anything, but I might be in some trouble if this persists. I thought it was just some scouting missions at first. I thought it was me drawing attention, but it might be an invasion force, and if so, then I'm going to probably want to call the doctor on this one. So, speaking of the doctor, I wanted to get into this before, because to stave off absolute boredom, uh, when I didn't have anything to do before I started doing these radar scans, when I was suspicious of the fact that there was a UFO in Oregon, I was going to talk about the doctor and I, not like, you know, the doctor and I, but, I mean, you know, comparing the two of us. I mean, of course, we're very, very different people, naturally. I never had any traumatic experience where I got my home planet blown up, and I haven't been chasing down an adversary that's been going after me since, you know, or that we've been butting heads with for hundreds of years. But, I don't know. That's basically the beginning of the speech I had, and I never elaborated from there because I was trying to work it out, and then there was UFO. I don't know, I don't grieve like he does. I'm not, there's a bug and it just flew in front of the camera. I don't feel the same sort of, yeah, I don't feel the grief that he does. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the TTO don't. The only thing is, I know you saw the. You know, I should get like some chopsticks and go Mr. Miyagi on this thing. I'm gonna crush it at some point. I'm getting sidetracked, of course, by a bug. Woo. I'm so good at this. Like everyone in the TTO, I had my moment of I'm dead. Because, I mean, I was killed in a Starship explosion when the reactors went critical on their first test. And that was the end of me, and then they saved me like they did to everyone else. And just like most other people, I had the moment of, but didn't I die? And, you know, that kept plaguing me for a while, and people would give me, yeah, no, well, just, you're alright now, we saved you. And then what finally broke me from that was actually Harkness. One of the few times he was in the aboard Mabel's before the first great, or no, before the second Unseen Time War. One of the first times he was aboard Mabel's, and I ran into him, and we had this conversation, and, you know, it got to the point where I was saying, I don't know how it got there, but it got to the point where I was like, you know, just like everyone else, I died, and I'm still kind of confused about how that whole thing works. And he goes, don't worry, it happens to everyone. And I just kind of looked at him. And that phrase has resonated in my head. Don't worry, it happens to everyone. By Harkness of all people, the person who can't die, thanks to the universe. Thanks to Rose Tyler and the Time Vortex. Bad Wolf. But, every time, you know, it's like, man, things are so screwed up. It really goes to the point where you think, things are so screwed up for me, but look at what's happened to him. He's gone through so much. There's always someone who's got it worse. And while it's true that just like someone's happy so you have to feel happy, or you can't feel happy, and someone's sad so you can't feel sad, like someone's got it better off, someone's got it worse off, so you can't act that way. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and wish away all my troubles just because someone has it worse than me. But the fact that it is in that particular situation where it's just like, yeah, everyone dies, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you cheat death, and sometimes you can't not cheat death. Sometimes death will never come to you. And I feel like the Doctor almost has it the same way. You'd think they'd connect more. They're always butting heads. Even now. Even with the 12th. Weird interactions that happen when you're dealing with you know, someone who's brand new and people that he remembers, and it's always so fun. It's always so fun when a new doctor comes to town. I mean, a lot of times we don't have him right away, because it doesn't make it a point to show up at Mabel's right after his regeneration. He has to very recently after, kind of, so that Mabel can kind of catalog him, so to speak. But yeah, we don't have him right away oftentimes, because he's normally with his companions when he regenerates, and he doesn't want to just ditch his companions to go get cataloged. One of the, I assume the 10th Doctor would have been a really bad culprit of this, because he just loved hanging out with Rose, except that the Bad Wolf incident had just occurred, and he wanted to make sure that she hadn't been severely damaged by taking in the whole time vortex. But coming back around to what I was talking about earlier, new doctor and now new problems. So I may actually have the 12th with me if I decide to call in the big guns, so to speak, on this issue. I don't know what race it is. I don't know. I don't recognize the ships or the energy signature. The only reason I've cataloged that particular energy signature is because it keeps popping up. It's not Pudules, it's not Daleks, it's not Silurians, because I went down and talked. I had a little chat with them, and they've decided to leave me alone. I returned to them their UFO that floated away. But, I don't know. I'm befuddled. I'm sure the doctor knows. But, you know, I haven't brought him in on this, because it was only a couple days ago that I found out, and I haven't made my weekly trip to Mabel's. Well, monthly trip to Mabel's. It's weekly for some of us. I don't go all the time. I used to go all the time. Now that it's becoming summer again, I'll probably go back to my weekly trips. But it's been more monthly for me, and it's been Sarah going for me and taking my place at the League of Captains. But since we are rounding out 13 minutes here, I figure I'll wrap it up, and we may have something catastrophic happen over next week, or we may have nothing at all, in which case you guys will see. So keep on staring out at the stars and look for strange explosions or anything unusual, and, you know, see you guys next week.